It should be good, right? All right. Welcome to another episode of the Sippin and Trippin podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is all about cultural appropriation. The person that's sipping and tripping with me today is the owner of SWAT Specialized Wiring and Technology. He is a former mechanic and owner of Wolff Auto. He is none other than Mr. Danny Wolff. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here.
That's good. That's always good. That's always good. Now, before we get started out, I mentioned how you was a mechanic, right? And we spoke briefly like a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, that I have this truck that seemingly just broke down, right? This guy keeps saying he can come check it out for me. He hasn't done so. So since you somewhat in the neighborhood, one of these days, if time permitted, you think you could check it out for me?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, I've always had you before, right? Yeah, you worked on a truck like that before, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because when I got it, and I was trying to find a battery, I had to Google things and look on YouTube, and I found out that it has 2 batteries, which is crazy. It's under the step, like when you're stepping up in it. If you flip that open, it's 2 batteries, and I'm like, good God. And I just didn't want to mess nothing up. So because I already started buying equipment for this. Yeah, I started buying equipment for the truck, so I'm just trying to set things in motion. I said I'm not trying to open up shop right away. I just want to be on a year-long campaign, marketing campaign to just make sure everything is in order. So that's what I'm doing now, trying to get this following. And that's that, man. So
yeah, pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the batteries, because if you hook them up wrong, you're gonna just have arcs everywhere. It'll be just scary and dangerous.
That's why I didn't want to touch it, because I seen this one battery and there's another battery, and it's got these 2 bars that's attached to the top. So I'm like, all right, I guess you only got to charge one and then one to send the current to the other one. That's what I assumed. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to mess with it, because they also got all the wiring and stuff right there. And I'm like, listen, I need somebody that know what they're doing.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, but that's something. Yeah, that would be you. But that's something we could touch bases on, at a later time. But cultural appropriation. What are your thoughts on the topic? And do you feel like it's a negative thing? Like, do you feel like it's offensive?
Well, I don't think it's offensive unless it's being used in a derogatory term or a derogatory way, which usually it isn't. So I think of it as more of flattery. Basically, if one group wants to mimic or be like another group, that means that they're envious of whatever they're mimicking. So it's got to be a good thing.
Right. Well, see, that's the beauty about conversations and topics like this, because, it can really go in a wide array of different, different ways, different avenues, different roads. So you said, how'd you word it? You said you think it's they're envious.
Yeah, they're envious of the what they're mimicking.
Go a little bit deeper with that, because I'm trying to understand what you mean by envious.
Okay, so it's basically one group would be in a certain way or would have certain ideals, and then another group has never thought of those ideas because they probably have never had to experience that or anything. They would have never had to process that type of stuff. So one group would see the other group and just be like, wow, I really like that. I'm gonna start doing that because I appreciate that they went through that or they thought of that and I never thought of that and I like it. Like, well, that's stealing it. Well, it's not really stealing it because the other group still has it. It's just now the other group who's mimicking it has it as well.
Right. So all right. So it sounded like you was talking more so of like cultural appreciation, which we'll later on get into, right? So a lot of people, when I mentioned this topic to them, they said, "What's the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation?" And I never thought about it until yesterday. So I mean, there is like a difference. Like I think like nowadays, when people say cultural appropriation is, a lot of times uh, that that makes them cool. They don't know, they have no knowledge of the culture or the history that comes from whatever they're mimicking. And I think that's, you can't appreciate something without that knowledge of where it started, where it comes from, and the whys. Like my boss at work always tell me, peel back the layers of the onion, right? So you just got to dig deep and do your research. It's like, all right, why? Why do they do this? Or why do they think this way? Why do they see things like this, right? And once you do that and you do things or you mimic things and you show that you have that understanding, I think people will say that's a cultural appreciation and not cultural appropriation, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm thinking you have it a little backwards,
Ooh.
because the appropriation is the taking it without knowing anything about it. Appreciation is taking it and knowing everything about it.
Okay. So this is
down to the actual word. Appropriate means to take and not know anything.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then appreciation is to have a understanding or appreciation of what caused it to be like that.
All right. So I'm going to read something real quick. So it says, we're all familiar with the phrase and the practices it describes, right? But it can be ambiguous, and it's primarily because while inappropriate and offensive uses of other cultures are obvious, right? The subtleties in the conversation gets drowned out by the protest that appreciation cannot be appropriated, right? A lot of people say that. And like I was watching like a Joe Rogan podcast where he spoke about this subject, and he said he thinks appropriation is the dumbest thing that a person can say. He said he don't believe anybody say it's a such thing as appropriation, which I beg to differ, right? So he gave like scenarios. He was saying like, how could somebody appropriate, right? When the world is supposed to be united, right? And we all supposed to be diverse. We all supposed to be in that situation where we can take from different cultures, different backgrounds to grow and develop and become one, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I beg difference. It's you. Nobody has sole ownership of anything, like when it comes to cultures or behaviors. But it's what's commonly like associated with that culture, right? Like rap music.
Sort of like a stereotype.
Right. Exactly.
Little bit.
Like rap music. I feel like that's the Black culture. Now, before I go on, what do you think about that being a Black culture?
Rap music came from something else, and then that came from something else.
Well, I would say it evolved.
So it evolved.
Yeah, it evolved from something, right? But like a lot of people say rap music came from jazz, but you can't really say it came from, right? Because they might have sampled ideas or sampled songs from jazz music or some of the tunes, right? But like the bass and the treble and all that stuff, it's totally different. Everybody samples something, and that's how you create things and make it your own. It's called evolving.
Well, yeah, it's evolving it. Yeah, of course, because everyone put their own flair on it. Everyone put their own little piece to that.
Right.
But that doesn't make it part of their culture. It just makes it part of their expression.
So while we're on the topic, do you believe there's a such thing as Black culture?
Black culture? I would say yes. I think there are some distinct cultures that would be white culture, Asian culture, Black culture. There's different cultures. You can't take one person from the center of any of those cultures, drop them into another area, and expect them to not look weird or different.
Right.
So, the culture is, I would believe, would be the what is the norm of the area.
Right. Well, I mean, all right. So like the actual phrase cultural appropriation, it first surfaced in print in 1945, and it was attributed to the late Professor Arthur E. Christie. and it's been a very heated topic in debate for many years, right? As a term, cultural appropriation, I'm sorry, has its roots in the later half of the 20th century, with the highest usage coming after 1980. The concept of stealing or misusing a culture was on our collective radar from the 19th century onwards. It was marginalized by groups having been spoken up about cultural appropriation that either diminishes or sidelines the contributions of the people who created certain practices. I mean, I asked you if you believe there was a such thing as Black culture, right? Because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they was like, "Well, black people really don't have a culture because they was enslaved for so many years." But I told this person, I was like, "You're wrong," because even though we was enslaved, right, that was way back then. So once we started gradually getting out of that, and this is ourselves from the slavery, the chains, and in the bondage, we stuck to our roots, like, meaning like Africa and like the African dances, or it's a lot of things. Go ahead.
But I'm sorry to cut you. So but they developed a culture even while in bondage.
Well, that's true.
They still kept all the stuff, and they developed the culture while they were in bondage. It didn't stop them from developing a culture. Nothing can do that. Even if people were isolated, they would have a culture that they would create. As long as one person can communicate with another person, a culture can create.
Right. I mean, that's true. Yeah. Even I would say back then, it's like nobody stopped them from creating a culture. I think it just halted it to a certain degree. Because they had to do it.
It just evolved.
Yeah, I mean, but like they didn't have
something different.
They couldn't just create culture and stay within their culture once they was captured. But before that, before being captured, I can see that he can come up with a culture and all these different things. But like, as far as people, right? Like nowadays, it's like it seems like every race or ethnicity try to be or want to be Black, right? And it's funny because they criticize I notice a lot of whites criticize Black people for a lot of things that we do or say, or how we speak or how we dress, but then they grow up and do it, or their kids do it. You know what I'm saying? Which is it's a double standard, and it's just weird to me, right? Like if a white kid sag their pants, right? Like that was popularized in rap music, right, by Black people. So it became like part of the Black culture. But like most white people, they look at somebody sagging and say, that's disgusting, that's foul. But when a white person do it, they're more acceptable of it. Why do you think that is?
Me personally, I don't think no one should be doing it at all. Because it was originally from something else, which symbolized something that you definitely don't want.
Yeah, I know exactly where you go with that.
So, all right, good. So, I don't know how detailed I can get on YouTube, but so, but basically, I think it was all right. Well, we'll break it down to just white and Black. So right. I think that the white people would have seen them as envious. Oh, look at them. They're so cool. They look cool. They act cool and everything. And then they're like, well, I want to be like that. I want to be cool. So they started, right. Dressing the same way, started slacking the same way, and then, speaking the same way. And then,
right.
So it was more of an emulation of what they thought was cool.
Right.
But that changes all the time.
I get it, but why criticize when you see Black people doing it? But when white people do it, it's okay. It's socially acceptable. Like I never understood that.
I criticize everybody doing it. So it may be the certain people that you see are criticizing it, but I've seen everybody criticize. I mean, maybe back in the day, it would have been less weird for a white person to be doing it, and they'd be like, all right, whatever. They're just trying to be, I don't know how much words I could say, but he's trying to be a poser. And then they'd be ridiculed for it. They would be by other like white people. They'd be like, you're dumb, you're stupid. Don't you know you're white? Right. And then you're like stuff like that.
I mean, it goes the same way with Black people. So Black people look at it like, what are you doing? Because I think it's because for us, it's like it's not natural, right? It's like I don't know, when a white guy like exhibit certain behaviors or they try to speak like as the typical black person, right? It just
Slang,
doesn't
stuff
come
like
off as
that. Yeah.
natural, and it's too proper, and it's sort of like the music, right? Now, for years, I said I
I
don't
do
like
that as
country
a
music,
joke, actually. I do that to people, and I've worked in at one place, and man, it was a lot of black people I was working with, and they were
right?
awesome guys. And I used to get them up cracking, laughing. How I would do the slang, but in the whitest voice possible,
Oh man, but
and
but
it
you was
was
doing it as a joke
hysterical.
though. But
Well,
you
I
was
was
doing
doing
this
it.
as a joke.
That's right, but
But
it is
go ahead.
funny,
Yeah,
like to see somebody like I'm like, all right, well, if you can't figure out your own identity and you're trying to emulate
right,
someone else's identity, all right, fine, but you should figure out your own identity.
right, and everything should come off as genuine, like not
Yeah.
forced. Once it's forced, it's just like now like, bro, what are you doing? Like, chill. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's sort of
Yep.
like so it's sort of like when a black woman or a black man they're articulate and they're well educated, right? White people look at them like, oh, like they found Bigfoot. They, oh my gosh, you sound very
Well,
intelligent. We don't get that much.
yes, that's true. That's true. I will. There is a thing where people are like, "Wow, that's the whitest black guy I've ever seen," and then he just be like talking, and he's very prim and proper and put together, and it's like seeing a unicorn.
But
And
the
it's
thing is,
not like
why
it's
can't they just be
bad.
educated? A educated black woman or educated black man? Why it's got to be like that? Oh, he is the whitest black man. That's crazy if you think about it.
Because the culture of white people would be to be, speaking a certain way, very straight and proper and rigid and like a robot, so like, and then
Hey,
that would be a
ain't that
white
the truth?
person. So that would be a white person, but and then once we see somebody else doing that, and then they're like, oh yes, yes sir, absolutely sir, and then I'm like,
Right.
what? And I'm like,
Absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, hey, that's why the world is crazy, man. So I know I have another good question for you. So people that say that cultural appropriation is stupid or the dumbest thing or is ignorant, do you get racist or prejudiced vibes from the person that would say that?
I think anybody who points out racism is usually racist. That's a lot of
Ooh,
times I've figured that out. The person who usually is the first person to scream out, that's racist. Well, it takes a racist person to identify racist things. So you have to know what's going on with the racism in order to point it out
right,
and be like, nope, that's racist. And then I'm like, all right, well, then I'm just ignorant and I wasn't
right,
thinking of a racism thing. You interjected a racism thing saying I am. And I'm like,
right,
I'm just being innocent, saying certain things, and then you're like, well, that means you're a racist. I'm like, no, you called me racist.
right,
You identified me as a racist, which means that you felt you had the knowledge enough to identify a racism. I was like, so that means you must be some sort of racist in order to identify it. Like,
right,
I can't identify a scientific algorithm on a board. I can't identify that, but a scientist can.
right.
And if a scientist can identify it, well, then they're a scientist. But I'm just an idiot who doesn't know anything.
I'm gonna circle back to your
Yeah, yeah,
ideology a
yeah.
little bit, but I'm gonna say because
What
that
was
was
the
very
question?
interesting. No,
I lost
the
the
question
question.
was the question was a person that say it doesn't exist or is stupid or is ignorant for to have that belief, right? I said, do you get prejudice or racist vibes? That was the question. Um,
Oh,
but
all right. So no, not really. I think cultural appropriation should be a good thing, but only good when you learn about what you're doing,
right,
the history of it, of why that is what it is.
right.
And without knowing it, then you're just a poser. You're just stupid and you're just copying like a lemming. And that's dumb.
What if somebody say they pro black or they pro white, right? But they repeatedly say, yeah, I'm not racist. I'm just pro black or I'm pro white or pro whatever they are. What are your thoughts on that?
Then they're pro racism. That's
Ooh.
it. They're pro
So the
racism.
reason why I say the reason why I say I'm gonna circle back to that because I am an advocate of being pro black. I tell people all the time I'm pro black, and I ain't racist at all. I got mixed kids. My girlfriend's white.
Well,
You know what
do
I'm
you
saying?
believe that black people can
But
be racist though?
no, I was gonna get to that too. No, it's not a
Okay.
such thing. The
Okay.
reason, so are we on the same? And I like to educate people, and I like to tell a lot of black people, but white people too. It's never been a racist black man. The reason why is because by definition, to be racist, you have to be of the superior race, and black people have never been of the superior race. Now, we can be prejudiced, but not racist.
Now, wait, that's a little ridiculous. That means that you don't think
why?
your race is actually the best? You actually think that white people
No,
are better than you?
I said by definition. By definition, it says
no,
of the superior race.
but there is no
Go ahead.
actual superior race, though. We're all people. We're all human. There is nobody who's better than anybody else. There is no
You're right.
color
You
that's
look at
better
it
than
from
another color.
I love that you said it, but I think you're looking at it more so from your standpoint, right? Like through your lens.
True.
Well, I'm talking about through America, right? Oftentimes,
Oh,
people call it
America's
white
messed
America.
up everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It is. But a lot of people call it white America, and
Yeah.
we don't get the same privileges, as whites. And it's a lot of movies or books or whatever that the average person don't know, right? Like King Kong, that movie was based on prejudice, right? Like the creator of that script, that movie, he said his main objective was to show that a black man would fall for a white woman because a white woman stands for purity and stuff. So like when I was growing up, my parents, well, not on my father's side, right, from the South, a lot of them, me and my brother wanted to watch King Kong. They was like, we don't watch that in here. So they had to break down the history, and I did my own history. My brother did his history, and we was like, oh, that's wild, right? Because King Kong was killed everybody, but he would not kill that white woman.
With my ignorance, because I don't know, I mean, I could look it up right now, but with my ignorance, I don't know anything about how the original creator of King Kong was associating, I guess, the ape for a black person. I wasn't aware of that. If that's true, or if that's not true, I don't know. But again, like I said, if your parents told you that, well, then it would be up to you to confirm that, to whether or not. Right. I rarely listen to what people say. I will check for myself.
Right, and I do the same thing. It's a lot of things that's out there in the universe. Like they say black people originated from apes. I always heard that, and I always hated it. And,
no, but that's not true.
I have, yeah, and like it just sounds crazy to me just thinking about it, right? Like. So I never really did research on that, but I said I was time and time again, but I just haven't because it's just crazy to allow that kind of negativity into my head. It like disrupts the positive chemistry. So I'm like, I can't. It's just one of those things. I'm like, it's chaotic. It's crazy. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just certain things. I don't know. Like, what do you think about like the cornrows? Is that part of black culture in your opinion?
No, it wasn't. It's actually European.
European? Oh, explain that. Because
it was no. I've actually looked this up before. The cornrows was, I believe, it was European. I think it was actually Scandinavia or something like that. I actually can. I could look it up real quick. So
right, go ahead. So when I had the research, like I learned that cornrows, like when the enslaved blacks, right, like they did like designs in their hairs to be
Vikings. That's Vikings. What it was. They were
cornrows or dreads.
No, cornrows was I believe was Vikings.
I see. I would have to check
and
that
one out. And I know that black people had a lot of it because they was back slavery times and everything.
Right, and as I was saying, like what I learned was when they did like the cornrows, they was weaving like directions, like escape routes in their head. So slave masters they didn't know that, right? But that's in fact what it was. Like if they needed to,
that's also what the songs were.
The song exactly, and that's another thing. Like like the songs, there's a lot of pain in their music, right?
Well, it's soul music.
It's
right? Soul music because they were singing from the bottom of their soul, and that's what they had, and it was a lot of pain. There was a lot of oppression. There was a lot of sorrow.
Right. Same thing with rap music, right? And not you obviously, but like a lot of whites they hate rap and they shut it. They criticize and they frown upon it. But it's like the same thing with the soul music because it came from see hardships. Like a lot of times, like rappers, if they talk about from the streets, they lived it, and if they ain't live it, somebody close by them lived it, right? And it's an art, and a lot of people was like, oh, all they say is the same thing. Nah, it's an art and it's a science to making music, right?
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. They just frown on it, and I don't get it. It's a lot
Well,
of
there
pain. It's a
was
lot
an
of
art. It
right,
used to be an art. Now it's a formula. It's all
right,
turned into a formula. I've actually, a while ago, I've tried to figure out why most of the music now just sucks.
right,
It's just repeated same things. A lot of it's just mumble. You try to listen to the lyrics and it doesn't actually make sense. I
right,
like to listen to stuff that the words actually make sense, where it's not just random words put together that sound good.
right.
You know, that was the main issue that I had with a lot of the now rap, was it was just nonsense words that were just strung together that
Oh,
sounded great.
oh, the mumble rap. Yeah, I'm
And
not
like,
a fan of the mumble
yeah,
rap either. I like
no,
the beat is the only saving grace of the mumble rap.
that's it.
But when
That's
they
probably the best part.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what are they
the
talking
mumble,
about?
mumble, blah, blah, blah. But
But
there are other raps that are just random words,
right, right.
just random.
That is true. It's sort of like James Brown. Like, not to disrespect his name, but a lot of black people like, if you don't like James Brown, you don't like music. I could never understand what he was talking about. The only thing I got out of it is when he shout. I'm like, oh, okay, that's James Brown. I never
Yeah.
understood. And I even watched movies, and on YouTube, I went to his songs, and I'm like, what is he talking about? I try to look up lyrics. I'm like, this is definitely not what he's talking about. So it's sort of how like the mumble rap is. I'm like, I just don't get it.
See,
Right.
his music was, you had to feel his music, not
Mm,
listen to his music. You had to experience it.
right. Right. Um, so it's like speaking about like Black history as well. Like I never liked how we were subjected to 1 month out the year, Black History Month.
Yeah.
Because for me, Black history is
Mhm.
year round, and we can't talk about American history without talking about Black history. You agree?
Yeah, of course. American history is also Black history. It's everything history. It's not just Black. It's also Asian. It's, you know, um Irish. Everybody. It was
Right.
all of us are together.
Right. So for me, it's like it's okay to say Black History Month if you saying like you're gonna dedicate that month for blacks to like if you're gonna elevate that, if you're gonna make February right stand out more so than the other 11 months. But it's Black History year long, right? Because of the oppression, because of the slavery, and you know, I you know, not to sound controversial, but like I often tell people that like America was built on the backs of black people. You know what I'm saying?
Not all of it. There was a lot of Asians that
Well,
were enslaved in the Midwest and everything. Plus, also it's blacks were the most uh prominent. They were
right.
the most prominent ones that were, I guess, poster child basically of
Well,
slavery. But it wasn't just.
now you talk
There
about
was a lot of
no, you
people
talk about the
slaved.
world. You talk about the
No, no,
world, or you
no.
talking about in America? Because I'm talking about America.
America. Oh, I'm talking about America. Oh, I very much am.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because it's
Because you
not
know a
just
lot of times.
it's just
Go ahead.
the blacks were the largest amount. That there were
Right,
other huge groups
right,
that were enslaved and used for work. I mean, a lot of the railroad stuff was a lot of Asian people. Like, you know, I am not trying to diminish what blacks went through or what they did, because yeah, of course they built it. They fed us. They did everything. They took care of us. They raised us. You know,
when you
a
say
lot of
raise us, what do you
nannies.
mean? What do you mean by
Well, the
that?
thing was, is a lot of the nannies were black people. They
Right.
back way long, were black people, and they raised the kids, and that, you know, with that was they were basically mama, you know, and it was it.
Right. So, all right. So, what I was getting at was like, so when I told you, like, I often say that America was built
But
on the backs of blacks, right? The reason why I said,
yeah,
go ahead, you go
sorry,
first, you
but
go first.
I don't think that Black History Month should be regaled to a month. It's the entire year. It's all the time, but
Right.
Black History Month, they're only narrowing it to America Black History.
Mm,
They're not broadening it to all
right.
everywhere, as far as I know. Um,
Right.
because there's blacks all throughout the world and there's history from them everywhere.
Right.
So it shouldn't just be because all we ever hear about is, oh, okay, well, this guy did stuff with peanuts. Okay, well, that was in America. What about like the guy who did stuff in Africa, the guy who did stuff in Europe, the guy who did stuff everywhere else?
Right.
Why is it always just got to be America? The Black history is way deeper.
Right. You're right. So what was I'm trying to think what I was just about to say.
Sorry, I messed you all up.
It's all good. I'll rebound. It was after I was talking about the Black history. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But
yeah,
the one question I would ask is this: how come when Black people, in your opinion, because I know you can't speak for nobody but yourself, how come when Black people do certain things, right, it's not acceptable among whites, but when a white person do that same thing or they say the same thing, they accept that?
Do you have an example?
All right, for instance, like I was trying to find in my notes. It's all over the place, but like like when we talk about the cornrows, right? Like that was been a part of Black culture for years, hundreds of years, and it's been a lot of people that was told by jobs that like if you don't take undread your hair off, cut your hair, then we don't have a job for you. It don't look presentable, or it's just dirty, right? But then when you have a white person come in, they might have dreads or the braids, and they come in and they get hired, and they don't have to face the same stereotypes or the same they don't get shunned, they don't get turned away because of it. But it's the same thing. So why is it acceptable for whites and not blacks, in your opinion?
I haven't seen that. I think that anybody who came in with dreads would, whether they're white or black or anybody, they would be like, but I know where you're getting at. I know the example. Right. I get it, but I think it would be more of a personal bias, or ignorance, a non-understanding. Right. Most people everywhere are afraid of what they don't know or don't understand, and usually the reaction is negative, which is just the wrong reaction. The first reaction should be curiosity. It should be, why is it like that? What is it? Why do you do this? What's going on? But then sometimes when the curiosity comes out, it comes out as, it gets misinterpreted as, well, why are you grilling me about this? Are you trying to shame me on this? And like, no, I'm trying to actually learn. But sometimes it isn't received well. But I believe it's probably personal bias, mostly. That one person has an idea of what they don't like or what they don't think is normal. It also could be the other way around, where that person who has the cornrows or whatnot, they think, okay, well, that's perfectly normal. But then what if it isn't? What if they're trying not to have individuality? What if they're trying to have everybody be the same no matter what? And you can't take your personal culture and bring it in and try to introduce it to a corporate structure that has no culture. And they want everybody to be the same, and you having your cornrows or whatnot goes against it. And then we have a lot of people who scream and yell, oh, don't, you're marginalizing me, or I should be able to express myself. Absolutely, you can express yourself all day long when you're on your own. I'll say, but when you represent a company for working for them, you represent them, and this is how they want to be represented.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a fine line, and a lot of times most of society just misinterprets stuff.
Right. I think, like I said, like a lot of it comes from in my opinion, from the many years of when blacks was oppressed and stuff, and then like it just generation to generation. Like you have a set of parents that has their own beliefs, or they might black people are the worst, or it could go the other way as well. And then when they have kids, the more that's instilled into them when they have kids, and it just goes on and on. I think that it's going to take a whole lot for the world to change in that aspect, because when you keep teaching your kids certain behaviors, certain traits, and that's how they grow up, and we just have to get away from that. And like, I mean, we've made a big turnaround. Like if you think about like 100 years ago, it's a
Yeah.
big difference. You know what I'm trying to say? But
Yeah.
oh, now I just remember what I was getting at before when I was
Do
saying how yeah, before I forget again, when I was saying that America was built on the backs of blacks. The reason why I was saying that is because, you know, back in slavery, right? The white people, well, white men didn't work. If you think about it, the only
they
thing they did was
managed.
superseded, right? They supervised the blacks that was out in the fields doing the job,
That's
right?
right. They managed.
And the reason why initially I was going to say just whites in general, but I forgot the women. They was the only workers back then. They was working doing like household duties, cleaning, washing, cooking the
Yep.
food, right? That was their job. So in that sense, they was working. Now, if we fast forward to when, you know, Abraham Lincoln and abolished slavery and all that stuff, and then when they said that everybody's equal, everybody has to work, white people, they was furious. I mean, they was furious. They was like, I got to work what you mean, because they wasn't used to it. So that's why, to me, I say America was built on the backs of blacks. And a lot of times, no matter where I work, no matter how many jobs, what job it was mostly like restaurants. But they always say blacks are lazy, and I'm like, how? Like, black people don't know what it's like to work. I'm like, how? America was built on our backs, and that's why I say that to people. I'm like, that's crazy. If anything, you should say white people. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's black successful people, but it's not many when you look at the grand scheme of things, right? Like, it's on a large scale. It's just not. You know,
Yeah.
and some of that comes from like from generations ago. Like, they didn't have the knowledge to teach their kids, right? So if they didn't have the knowledge, now the kids is being raised not knowing a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost 40, and I'm still learning things that a lot of white people tell me like I should have been learned.
What happens is that I have a feeling that the new generation learns whatever the old generation is willing to tell them, and as long as the new generation, it decides that they're going to actually want to research it and find out for themselves, but that takes effort, that takes a lot of work. Nobody's going to do that. So what they're going to do is they're going to listen to the old heads, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, if they said it, it's got to be true. So then they incorporate that into their own personality, and then they get molded into this this person who, without even verifying if any of their beliefs are true. You know, you get the people who, you know, this person said this, and they're like this, and they're like this, and then all of a sudden, later on, you're like, no, that's actually was never true, and this is what actually happened, and then it blows their mind. They either regress into denial. They're like, no, that's not true. That's not true. I know what I know, and then that's stupid. That's ignorance right there. You're not willing to learn, which means that you're going to perpetuate the bad of what happened before, you know. And then that's not how it should be. You shouldn't be perpetuating the negativity of before. You should be encouraging the growth and the knowledge of what's in the future.
Right.
So eventually, I personally believe eventually racism will actually go away, but nowhere in any of our lifetimes.
Yeah, I was about to say, not lifetime.
No, like it could be way in the future.
That's something that's very powerful, and it's just hard. It took, I don't know how many years. It took like thousands of years before it is the way it is now. So just think about it. Like our parents, they were still going through the whole segregation thing, right? So I'm almost 40, and I like to still look at myself as being young, but people like, you old. But like, I'm like, it took that long, right? And it's like, for me to still mentally believe that I'm young, it's like, that wasn't that long ago when all that was going on. So you mean tell me 100 years from now we still gonna be dealing with these issues? It's weird.
Yeah,
now
I think it's gonna be many hundred years that we're still dealing with the stupidity.
Back to like the cultural appropriation thing. What about when Asians or whites or any other ethnicity or whatever, they get these BBLs and the lip fillers, right? You know, because for me, it's like they want that the appearance of a black woman, right? Like, so that's what I mean. Like when I be talking
I think that's
appropriation, it's like
all that shit's dumb. All that shit's stupid.
You might think it's dumb, but like, what are they trying to mimic? Because in white America, right, when they came with like Barbie dolls and stuff, they was like, you know, and this created a problem as well. They would say, oh, if you're not skinny, you're not right. You got to be like a pencil thin. So that's what like white America try to portray and push, right? But it's like nowadays,
But
everybody
then
want
the
a
weird
BBL,
part
they want
was
lip
is
colors.
that a long time ago, being skinny was actually synonymous with being poor and being unhealthy. You know,
Yeah,
back in Roman times, if what we would consider a thick girl now would
yeah,
be the perfect woman, and I'd be like, all right, well, that's breeder, you know, that's this, and that's you know, a good woman. She's healthy, she's good, you know. And if you saw a skinny, you know, a tiny little toothpick girl, you were like, oh my God, that poor
she's
little
not
homeless
eating.
girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
she doesn't eat, she doesn't do nothing. But now, and then it turned into, I don't know when it decided to do this, but it turned into, oh, if you're not skinny, like you said, then you're gross or you're ugly or you're fat or whatever. Well, all right, well, then that became unhealthy, was unhealthy, but that's what was desirable. Now, what's happening is that um, people are accentuating
mm-hmm.
certain parts of them, which is just,
Right,
from to me, stupid.
right,
Even for anybody to do it, no matter what the culture, no matter what, if they're black, white, you know, yellow, brown, anybody, it's just
right,
dumb. Just
right.
be happy with what you got.
Right. Now, when I say the white and black, that's not an attack on whites. It's just so happen to
No,
be,
I
you know,
know,
I'm black, and we talk about cultural
and I'm
appropriation. So
yeah.
I'm speaking more so from black people or in my culture. So just to let you know,
Yeah.
that's not an attack on white people.
No, I know.
No, I'm just saying because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable over there and nothing like that. But
I
like,
never feel uncomfortable.
hey, hey, that's good because
That's
a lot of
what.
people say that and then like they really be like,
Oh
but
no, I don't shy away. People want to talk to me about anything. I don't care. I
I
really don't
got you.
care. Because the way I feel about it is I'm going to tell the truth whether you like it or not. And if you
Right,
don't like it, well, that's your problem, not mine.
right.
If
Um,
that's it.
so another thing about like cultural appropriation, like I feel like when I say white America, that's because that's what a lot of white people feel that way too. That it's white America. I've heard a lot of people say like it's on the outside, it's white America, but the jails and the prisons because it's populated with black people. That's what Black America is. I'm not even gonna touch that, but
That's way bigger.
but
There's
but but
so
but
much
but
statistics and
but if you look at
lots of stuff.
statistics, then if you look at statistics, you be like, all right, I can see that. But like it's just
Yeah.
crazy to me
Oh,
reading
yeah.
about them. But so it's a lot of power, right? Like white America is all about power, or America is all about power, right? Like for instance, like it's greed. Like imagine if the United States, because we've been trying it for years to go out of space and find aliens, right?
Yeah.
So if we went to Mars or Jupiter or anything like that, and we seen an alien, what you think America's gonna do? They're gonna try to take
Oh,
ownership.
the
Yeah,
first thing, everyone's going to lose their damn minds. Everyone's going to
yeah.
go crazy, and it's going to be a big debate. You're going to get the half of the people who want to, you know, go have sex with it, and then you have the other half of the people who want to kill it. So, and then you got the other half who's like, "Oh, this is great. They're going to fix all our problems." And then, you know, the aliens, if they're any type of intelligent, they're not going to want anything to do with us.
You're right. So I tie that in because it's like when you look at the definition of appropriation, it says ownership. So when we talk about America, like if we actually went out of space and we found an alien or we seen an alien, America ain't gonna do nothing but try to take ownership and say we own their planet. We own that alien. We own the aliens, and then sort of like when they say like Alaska's part of the United States. Well, technically, it's not. It's a property of because America got money and we bought it, and so therefore we as Americans say we own it, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So if we went out of space and said, "Oh, we found it. We got the money. We take it over. This is ours." Right? If it was ever a such thing as aliens, they gonna rebel. They're gonna say, "Oh, nah, this is our
They're
shit."
gonna look at us. They're gonna be like, no,
Yeah,
go
and
back to your marble."
yeah, it's gonna be World War 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like so, but that's what I mean. So it's America is all about greed and power as well. So imagine we saying that we own Mars or we own Jupiter. That and then they say that's part of our culture now because we own it. That's not our culture to take, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about stealing things, right? Like we can't steal another planet and say it's ours. Because
We could sure as hell try.
we could try. And the thing is, we got money. Who's gonna stop us? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the
That's the
money
thing.
don't mean nothing to them. They don't
Well,
subscribe to our they don't subscribe to our craziness.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, and so you know, yeah, like so when it comes to appropriation, it can go both ways, man. Because a lot of people say like nobody owns anything, and if it's supposed to be like I said earlier, the United States, we should all be united. So it should be all of our cultures. Like every culture should be every culture, but it's just a difference because it's I don't know how to put it in words. It's more than just like ownership. It's like a way
But
of life.
that's the thing about America. There actually is no America culture. There's no
Mm-mm.
such thing because America was founded by taking every culture in
Right.
and creating a homogenous culture,
Mm.
which is technically impossible unless you give up your previous culture and then you create a new one, which we're not going to do. So it's just a hodgepodge of different cultures together, just swirling around like a freaking lava lamp, just all
Right.
going around together. But unfortunately, you start getting fights because one person believes this, another person believes that, and then they're like,
Right.
"Well, I don't like that you think this. I don't like that you think that." Well, that's too bad.
Right.
That's like everybody's entitled to have their own feelings, entitled to have their own, thoughts and
Right.
the way they want to live their life. But not a single person is entitled to force other people to participate in
Right.
their situation.
I think a lot of when black people say black culture, it's like we've been oppressed for so long and held in captivity and bondage for so long. It's like for many years we looked at it like we just want to make something our own, right? So we might take something, put our own spin, and say this is us, right? And
Mhm.
for instance, remember earlier when I was talking about the whole cornrows thing, right? So it was this woman
Yeah.
named Bo Derek, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, so are you familiar with the name?
Of course.
Okay. So it was a movie called 10 in 1979, right? And
Mm.
she had the cornrows in the movie. And they was like, oh, she made it popular. She made it a thing. And she got credit for the invention of cornrows. When way before that, years, but way before that, blacks was doing it in Africa and stuff, even in slavery and bondage, they was doing it, but never got the credit. So it's like nowadays, like even Kim Kardashian, when she started coming out in the 2000s and she got the cornrows. Now they didn't give her the credit for the cornrows, but she said, oh, she got the Bo Derek cornrows. And I'm like, how is she getting credit for something? So it's like whites take what they strip away everything from blacks and it's for profit, and then they patent it and say this is ours. When it's a cultural thing for blacks. So that's why I was trying to get it earlier. I couldn't find the name before, but yeah.
No,
So
yeah, I
that's
know that was
that's
in
what
the
I mean by
beginning.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean by like appropriation. Like if we do something, we get criticized, but when a white person do it, they get all this revenue, they profit and they get famous, and they say this person made it iconic. That's
And you know
insane
what?
if you think about
You know what? Just maybe you guys need a PR person.
it. As a nation, like as a whole, you need more than one person.
You gotta have a black PR person and be like, no, 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 no. No, this is
We need
ours.
a whole
This was
board. Yeah, we need
ours.
a
Yeah,
we need a whole
you need
board of
a
people.
whole room of them.
Yeah. So
Push
it's wild.
back.
So like at the end of the day, man, it's like we just try to have something that we can just call our own, right? But then, unfortunately, like I said, we live in America, so that's never
Yeah,
going to
there's
be a
no
thing.
such thing. Yeah, there's no such thing as your own if you're in America.
Right, and it's
But
like
these
I believe
days,
it
we
was
can't have your own at all
right,
because information travels literally at the speed of light. So there's
right,
no possible way to have anybody have their own thing anymore. Back in
right,
the day, maybe before internet, people could have their own thing for a long time,
right,
and then other people wouldn't know about it because we didn't have the information. Now
right,
these days, it's going to be impossible for anybody to have their own thing because the moment somebody else finds out about it, it's out. It's done.
right. That's another thing. Since we on the diversity and all that, it's just different because the way the world is now, it's like everybody wants mixed babies. It's Asians with blacks, Asians with whites. It's Chinese, it's Mexican. it's the world is going. So when you say hundreds of years from now, it'll be different. I believe that because it's everybody gonna be mixed. You can't that's like me talking about white people and my kids are mixed. That would make me an idiot. That would make me ignorant and dumb. Like I just couldn't do it, right? Like so years from now, I think the whole world is gonna have it's gonna be a mixture, a whole melting pot of different races and different backgrounds. And I think that's what it's gonna come down to for us to end like the racism and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's like ingredients. It's like ingredients. Yeah. Basically, if you can have all the individual ingredients to a food or whatnot, and then of course when you put them in there, they're going to mix around, but they still are their ingredients until you mix them good enough to when it becomes one new thing together, and that's eventually going to happen.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean? Like, you mean not just being 50% white, 50% black? You mean having a whole bunch of
every culture, every Nordic or Asian or Japanese or black or white or anybody, all of them, because right now that's what we all are. We're all individual ingredients right now, and we're all just kind of in the mixing bowl. We're close, but you can still identify everybody. But eventually, when one thing blends into another and blends into another, it starts to you lose your individuality basically, and then it all becomes one thing. Then how are you going to make fun of the next person when you're that too?
Exactly. So we talk about identification, right? Like, so I had this conversation with my girlfriend like a month ago. So if you have somebody that's 50% white, 50% black, how do you feel about them either saying I identify as white or I'm black? How do you feel about that? Should you say, are you against that?
You identify however way it's advantageous to you.
So as a parent, right? Say if it was a white and black, and they was like, "I'm black." How do you think the white parent should feel?
Well, the white parent fell in love with a black person, so should feel just fine. Should.
That's interesting because my girlfriend was like, "Oh, if our kids said they black, she would be offended," and I was like, "Why?" That's what she told me.
Why?
I was like,
wow. It's still half you.
She's like they should say mix, right? And I ain't giving no thought at first, but I went to work and I asked a couple people, and they was like, "Well, if it was my kid, I'd be offended as well." So I'm like, "Dang, is it me with the wrong mindset?" Like that was a good question. So that's why I just
it's not a bad question. That's a bad question, but I feel as though if it goes down to the person's personal preference. Mine, I have a very open mind with things. I would think, well, if they want to identify black, okay, fine, that's good. Then okay, do that. And then the white person in a relationship, well, they fell in love with somebody who was black, and then you made a mixed baby. Okay, fine. If that kid wants to identify with one race over the other race, okay, it doesn't matter because that's not going to change who they are.
Right.
They're still your baby. You still love 100% of them.
Right.
So
yeah. So now it's weird because on the flip side of that, she asked me, like, "What if my kid said they was white?" And I was like, I was like, would it bother me? I say to some degree, but I said I would be okay with it because for me not to be okay with it, right? And they will pick up on that negative energy and they will feel like I don't accept them or I don't love them. So in that aspect, like I'll be okay with it, but like it definitely would bother me, right? Like I don't know. I can't even explain why.
And again, that would be a personal preference. That would be your feeling on it. I mean, if they want to identify white, all right, fine. They can identify white if they want to.
Right.
But when you physically look at them, they're going to be a little less. Yeah, a little less one, a little less the other.
Yeah, a little less color. You won't see no color. You just see my kids. Even when they 30, 40, I'm like, that's my baby.
I was like, that's my baby. Yeah.
So that's the thing. So like when it comes to something like that, you care about something or people close to you. It's like you don't see color. And the thing is, once people start really seeing color, right, then that's them being prejudiced or having bias. That's them not being open-minded, right? Like, and while
they're not looking past the surface to see the person. That's the problem.
Right.
That's why I go around and people are like, "Oh, you're not scared of me?" Black guy would say it to me. "You're not scared of me?" I'm like, no, you're a nice person. I'm like, why would I be scared of you? I'm like, because I got tattoos all over my face and I got piercings and I gotta do this and that. I was like, so I was like,
Yep.
okay, so you dressed yourself up. Okay. I was like, you're still a nice person.
No, it's funny. So like, oh, hold on. Before I get to that, so back to the appropriation thing, right? So around Halloween and stuff, you don't think that's like, so like costumes instead of like they like the Pocahontas or the way they worded it, or they might be like the Happy Indian or things like that. You don't think that's appropriation? Like they sell costumes and like a lot of Americans, we don't understand what the markings mean, but we'll draw our own little markings or mimic what we seen in the picture and make the markings and say, oh, here's your Halloween costume. You don't think that's appropriation?
I think costumes are supposed to be satire.
Because at the end of the day, Indian or something, they feel.
I think that the costumes are satire almost. Unless they're going for genuine. And then if they're going for genuine, then they should know what they're making or what they're doing.
But I think nowadays it's like everything's about profit, though. Like, I don't think we, as Americans, give it much thought. I don't think
corporations don't have any souls.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I don't think they have a soul, or
they don't care about they just cultures.
They see it. Yeah, they see a dollar sign. They do. Look at the cartoons. Like when they make fun of, it's sort of like stand-up comedians, sort of when they make a lot of movies and TVs. They make the script. They have no knowledge of their culture, but then let's throw them in there because nowadays it says you got to be show diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
So let's include that in there, right? But it's misinterpreted. It's misused. Right?
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know, like the head garments, right? That's something that takes like Indians or took Indians years to get. And that's, that's a great sign of respect. But they throw in a cartoon and the character is getting disrespected to the utmost, but they have the hat on. So it's like, why they got the hat, but you showing them getting disrespected? And that's what's crazy. And I think sort of like the football team when it says no more Washington Redskins, it's one of those type of things. They looked at it as appropriation, right? So now they've been trying to change it.
I think that today,
last year
I think today people are looking for causes to be angry about. We haven't had any actual real revolutions. We didn't have a Woodstock. We didn't have a and I know we had a Woodstock, but I mean we didn't have an actual like real Woodstock. We didn't have a Vietnam. We didn't have something to fight against and to group against. That's why we're having a lot of the situations where people are saying, of the overseas, the different wars and whatnot. People are searching for something to fight with. They want to be part of something. So it's really easy to just start nitpicking every little thing. What happens when people get bored is that they start destroying things they have. And that's,
you see that comment on the screen?
I do, well-rounded.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. So you think like in America, we're just too bitter and not like, I don't know. We always, because you said we always look for something. Like you think that's a matter of growth, not growing within ourselves. You think
it's boring? That's what it is. That people are bored. Everybody's bored. Nobody's entertained with their own lives. So they're so bored with everything that's happening. It's always the same thing over and over again. Okay, well, you turn on TV, you see this. It's the same thing. Okay, a week later, turn on TV, it's the same freaking thing. So then you see everyone talking about the same stuff, and it's just boring. So what people do when they're bored is they make up stuff to do. They make up their own game. They make up their own thing. So everyone's finding ways to be triggered about stuff. And it's just... It's awful. Nobody is satisfied with their own life that they have to make up a new one. And it's just disappointing.
And it's sad that when we say like for hundreds of years ago, things have changed, but that's another thing. The way technology is now and how people use it, it's like we're robots. Like not us, but like the new generation. What's that, Gen Z? I don't know. I can't keep up with that.
No, they're way past Gen Z. That shows how old you are.
Oh my God. So like we have no choice but to learn when we was growing up, you know what I'm saying? Because technology wasn't as big as it is now, you know what I'm saying? Like we had technology, but everybody wasn't walking around with cell phones nonstop on Instagram, Facebook. It just wasn't like that.
No, we
Nowadays,
had beepers and AIM.
and then but back in the day, growing up, we had to remember phone numbers. Now everything is
It's already locked into your phone.
Yeah,
most people today, they don't memorize their own phone numbers. They don't even know what their phone. So many people, they're like, I was like, "What's your phone number?" And they're like, and then they pull up their phone and they have to look. And I'm like, "You don't know your own phone number?"
And it's sad. And it's sad. So like, just to know that that's the way that the world is moving. Like, it's you creating robots. You're not allowing our kids to really grow into themselves and be knowledgeable, man, because that's all they know. Like, how many households on Christmas or something, or birthdays, it's like you give them a book under the Christmas tree or something that they can learn, something that's beneficial. All we do as parents these days is pacify. Oh, let me give them,
here's this flashy thing.
Let me give you this video game. Let me give you Xbox and the Switch at the same day. Like, and that's all they know is to be a robot and just resort to that. And then you could ask him a simple question like, how do you change the sorry? I don't know. I never had to do that. Like, come on, I'm playing my game right now. So that's why a lot of time, man, my son, my oldest son, I tell him, hey, today you're gonna put this down, you're gonna learn something. And it's a lot of pushback because he don't want that. Well, how come my friends ain't gotta do it? I'm like, listen, they don't live here. You live here. Yeah. So now it's time to listen to me.
They don't have me as a daddy. That's why.
Nope. They don't get it. And a lot of times too, like at work, I'll be telling people, like I said, I like to educate. I tell people, like, listen, what you learned today? Tell me one thing you learned today. And they're like, oh my God, you're old. You sound like my grandfather. I'm like, dang, why we got to take it there? I'm
like,
trying
man,
to help you get better.
Deep. You cut deep.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you get better. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like something an old man would say. I'm like, that's crazy.
My son, he's on the computer all the time and everything, but I forced him. I always forced him. I was like, go outside. And then they're like, what am I going to do out there? I was like, do something, anything, walk around, climb a tree, break something, dig a hole, do something. I was like, that's what I had to do. You should do it too.
That's another thing. When we was growing up, we couldn't stand being in the house. All we want to do is get away from
parents. I want to be outside, go in the woods, wander the town.
You could go outside and play. It's boring. I want to go outside. All they want to do is they go on a computer, an iPad, a phone, something.
I heard one time they're like, I don't go outside. There's predators out there. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, you said your son? That's deep. That's crazy.
I was like, you're watching too much TV. You're watching too much YouTube. I was like, now I'm taking it away from you.
You know, another thing, since we talk about computers and stuff, another thing that trips me out is my oldest son is 9. He'll be 10 next month. He know how to do things on the phone or on YouTube or whatever that I don't even know how to do. I'm like, how? I'm so much older than you.
My son, he's 17 and he's big now. So it's, but he knows everything about what's going on. But luckily for me, I stayed up and I stayed relevant and new. And I know I sound like an old person saying that, right? So, I'm hip. I'm with it.
No. Now you just sounded like an old white guy just now. I'm hip. Like my father said that to me one day. I said, "What'd you say?" He was like, "I'm down with it." I'm like, "No, we don't talk like that."
No, but the thing is that I've said things, and my son, it's hilarious because I'll say it in front of him, and I'll say it around his friends, and I'll say it around other people, and he's like, "You can't talk like that. Don't talk like that." And I'll be like, "Yo, bro, what do you talk about? No cap." And then he's like, don't do that. And I'm like, why? I was like, you're just mad I'm doing it right. And I'm like, dude, you're being mad sus. And then he's like, stop it.
Right. So that comment says, just like Aunt Jemima said, why change? It's been the same for 100 years. Well, to that, I would say, like, because it's racial, right? Like,
it was again, people were looking for something to be mad at. It was there for 100 years. How come people weren't mad 100 years? Someone was looking to be mad.
And I guarantee you people was mad back then. But it's like, if a black person complained,
were they or were they happy that a black person was being lost the words. The black person was being put as a
appreciated, put it that way.
A face. It was basically putting a black person on a bottle to be the face of that brand. I mean, there might have been a lot of people proud and being like, yeah, this is great.
It's funny you said that because growing up, I was one of them that was proud. I'm like, oh shit, my people, so we got something. That's us.
There's a lot of things like that.
Well, you don't see the a face of anything as a black woman or a black man. So when I seen that, I was like, oh, I love it, right?
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I started saying like, hey, wait a minute, because it was like a mockery, and then you start seeing it in movies, cartoons, and there's like, go ask your mama, right? Referring to like Aunt Jemima. Yeah. Like it's a lot of references they made, right? Like because like when white people, like let's say comedians, when they talk about black people, right? They a lot of things that black people looked at like, oh yeah, we got something in life, right? Like when a white comedian pokes fun, they make reference to it to the point where you be like, hey, I don't like that shit no more, right? So it's tough. You know, black comedians, we make jokes against white people all the time. It's funny as shit. Now, I know funny. a lot of white people be offended, but like I laugh at it and I tell people like it's a difference between like outwardly just saying it every day and just making a joke about it, right? Like because we as humans are built on entertainment. If we're not entertained, if we're not interested, it's null and void, right? And guess what? No corporation, no business would profit off that.
The problem is that our entertainment limit has dwindled to nothing. It's dwindled to like 5 seconds. If we're not entertained within 5 seconds, we're casting it aside and we're like to the next thing. But back in the day, if you look at movies, you look at TV shows, and this is going to be something funny that I guarantee you're going to do from now on. Every single time you watch TV show or every single time you watch a movie, I want you to start counting every time it switches cameras. Every single time it switches a camera, count upward. You'll just be like, all right, well, it pans to one person, then start counting 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll never get to 10. You'll never get to 10 because it changes every 10 seconds. And then that's what keeps people attention.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny you said it because when I was in high school, I think I was either a sophomore or junior. I took a college course on videography where we had to learn about movies and what works, what don't work. And we had to actually make our own movies. Like the one that was difficult for me was the black and white. A lot of people, when I asked them, like, what do you think it'd be harder to make, a black and white movie or a movie in color? So which one do you think?
Harder? I would say color movie.
So I knew he was gonna say that because I thought the same thing until I took that course. It's actually harder to do black and white. Because it's already in black and white. Now the lighting, you got to make sure that's right. So what you was talking about is the attention span thing. It's called the rule of thirds when it comes to videography and movies, TV, stuff like that. It's called a rule of thirds. So they're supposed to jump like that because it's sort of like when you're driving the road. Say if you're tired and you're driving and you're just looking straight at the road, you more likely to nod off. But
because you're getting bored.
Some people say look for things. When you're tired, just look for things. Well, oh, I'm gonna find something with this color, something with that color, or something that looks like this. Now your eyes is moving, right? So that keeps you a little bit more alert, more active because you're doing something instead of just being a zombie
lifeguards.
Like this. So
lifeguards are taught to do that, to constantly be going like this and looking around.
Right. So and it's crazy you said you guarantee I'm gonna start doing that. Like I've been doing that for years because, like I said, when I was a sophomore or junior, I took that class. So like when I watch movies now, I understand, and people look at me as a weirdo. I kid you not. I'm like, oh, you know why they do that? And they look at me, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, bro,
I do the same thing. I'm like, do you know why this happened? And then, but that's why a lot of people don't like M. Night Shyamalan movies because M. Night Shyamalan movies holds longer than normal, and people are like, oh, they're boring. I'm like, they're not boring at all. They're very smart. And then they're like, oh, well, why are we have a long shot of somebody just like walking? I was like, just because it's gone beyond 10 seconds and now you're bored. And I was like, so that's why it's not interesting to you. It's not flashy.
And you can't tell somebody that is good because see with something like that, you got to be you got to be self-trained, you got to be self-disciplined, right? Because you got to have a strong mind. It's not for the weak. You weak-minded, and that's how you can separate people with a strong mind and somebody that's narrow-minded. If you're narrow-minded, you're never going to understand. You're never going to get it. You want things instantly. It's like sort of like people with
TikTok, just constant go.
They get a job. It'll be their second day on the job, and they ask them about a paycheck. Like, what? You got to put in the work, right? Yeah. It's patience. Patience is a virtue, right? You can't want the easy route, because another thing I like to teach people is this. I was like, life is hard, life is difficult. If life was easy, we all will be doing something else. Just like you would say, your attention span.
If life was
if
easy,
your
then it
attention,
wouldn't be worth doing.
that's what I'm saying. We would be doing something else. We be looking for. That's another thing. I try to teach my kids or whoever that are listen. We run away from adversity, but we also run away from things that's easy. So when things is easy, we look for a challenge. But once you get presented and you come face to face with that challenge, now you're like, oh no, now you're looking for something that's easy. So it's so weird how
Which now
the
this
mind
brings it
works.
right back to the beginning of where we were saying that people are getting bored, so they're creating things to be triggered about because
Right.
life is too easy. And I know it doesn't
Right.
sound right because a lot of people struggle, but believe it or not, life is a lot easier than it used to be. I mean, we have a lot of comforts now that were just extravagant before, like,
Right.
you know, running water, electricity. That's good. Phones, you know,
Right.
it's people are getting bored and they want more and more and more and more. And it's just, they search for the adversity. They search for the fight because
Right.
people are getting bored.
And that's the and as soon as this don't go their way, now they revert back to, oh, I want it easy. So it's like pick your
Yeah, it's a
poison,
back and
right?
forth. It's a back and
back and forth.
forth. I know that right now there's a whole back and forth movement of the women's movement who they were like, oh, I'm gonna be boss bitch and I want to do this, I want to do that. And then all of a sudden I've been hearing a lot of like, it's hard. They're like, it's hard. I don't want to do this. I want to go back in the kitchen. And then they're like, I want to be a wife. And then we're like, all right, cool. And we're like, do whatever you want. But
And it's funny you say that because you tell any woman, you're like, oh, go make me something. And they'll be like, they so quick to be like, oh, because that's a woman's job. And I don't care. I have no filter. I'm like, yes,
like
that's a woman's job. Like for years they've been
we're gonna receive so much hate right now.
I know, it's okay. It makes good content. But like the way to a man's heart is through their stomach. You agree with that?
You're absolutely right. And
So
always when people are like,
happy,
all the time, people are like, all right, well, they're like, well, you want to come do this thing? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, there'll be food. I'm like, you got me. All right, I'll be there.
I'm sorry, I was texting. So what I was saying, I was like, how the women, all right, so they so quick to go back to that, but like the way to a man's heart is through their stomach, right? Like, so if a woman truly wants a man that's gonna love them the right way, feed them. So get in the kitchen.
So I feel as though, and this is actually a marriage situation. And there's a lot of thoughts on marriage that it's not what it used to be. The roles are just now disappearing. Me personally, I don't believe in marriage at all. Because
that's interesting.
It's turned into something that is just not what it used to be. Now marriage has turned into a contract that nobody takes seriously. And marriage has turned into a government thing. It hasn't turned into a love and God thing at all. It's actually gone super away from God. It's now turned into a, well, what can I gain from it? Well, it's not marriage. That's not what marriage is. It's not a what can I gain. It's what can we do together? How can we make powers combined, basically? But nobody knows. The problem is that within a marriage there are roles, but nobody knows their roles anymore. Nobody knows what to do.
Right.
I feel as though the man role would be to go out into the world, and it's like war. It's just like war. The man goes out into the world and fights the world and fights everything to go collect that money to be able to do everything for his family and bring that stuff back to the family. And I feel as though the woman should patch up the man, should take care of the man, so the man can go back out to go war, so that he is good enough to do it.
So you don't believe that women should go out in the world and fight as well?
If they want to, sure. It's hard. If they have the power to do it, cool. But the problem is that there's always a regret. There always seems to be a regret. Oh, okay, well, I went out in the world. Well, it's really hard. I don't have no one to take care of my kid. I don't have no one to do this. I don't have no one to do that. And it's always a difficulty. And then the hard part is that men usually want a soft woman. Usually, I can't say that's the law.
Well,
but
listen. I don't think it's no man that wants a hard woman, right? Because that's almost like dating a man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
women are supposed to be the softer ones. They're supposed to be the nourishers and
They're
um,
supposed to be emotional support. They're supposed to build up your psyche. The man is
right,
supposed to be the powerful, physical powerful, and the woman is supposed to take care of the mind. The man is supposed to take care of the body. And
right.
so the man should physically make sure that everything's physically okay. The woman is supposed to make sure that everything is spiritually okay and everything's mentally okay. And that's what I think.
So all right. So you put it that way. So it sounds like you want the world to be revert back to how it was years ago when the woman just
20s.
stay at home and take care of the kids, take care of the house. So you think that a man is supposed to take care of all the finances? Like, I mean, because if that woman's
No,
taking care
screw
of the
that.
kids
No,
in the
no, no,
household,
no. Women should be taking care of finance and stuff. Men should be
oh,
going out to
okay,
get the finances. They should be they should be doing the work to get it. The women should be tracking and taking care of the finances,
oh
making sure
nah,
that the
nah,
math stuff.
no way, no way,
Yeah,
no
because
way.
you know
Because
why? Do you know why? Because
so,
they're more meticulous.
you,
They remember shit way better than we remember shit. I mean, come
listen,
on.
I agree with that, but what you're saying is as a black man, you know, I look at that as like the next slavery, like bringing slavery back because
No.
we go out there
I'm not saying
blood,
they're
sweat, and tears.
required to do that. I'm just
No,
saying
I
that
know, but
there
that
are roles.
yeah. But if that's the role of a man and a wife or a woman and a man, it's like we going out there slaving, and then when our feet hurt and stuff, and then you said to get a massage. That's not good enough for me. I need you to go out there in them trenches with me. I need you to put in some of that work to relieve
Well, you
me of
want
some
to,
of the
you
stress and the
want,
burden.
yeah, well, that's the thing. You want a battle partner. But the problem is that, okay,
Yeah,
when you're both battle worn, then who's going to take care of you? Who's going
yeah.
to patch you back up? There's nobody to patch you back
They
up.
carry each other. They carry
No,
each
you
other.
can't if you're both broken. If you're both drowning in the same ocean, how are you going to save each other? No, one of you has to save yourself, and then
Oh
you can
man,
save the other.
so yeah, somebody's gonna love what you're saying, but they're gonna try to convince me, like, yeah, what Danny was saying, hey, that's how you need to live life. But I can't, bro, because listen, as a black man, that's the closest thing to slavery to me, man. Because you know, like I was saying earlier, like the slave masters, they only thing they did was sweat. They sat on the horses or they sat in the lawn chair and watched
They
us
were
do all the work.
managers. They were the managers.
They was managers.
They were
They was
telling
you
you,
right.
you need to do this now. I need this by next time. Do it, or else there'll be consequences and whatever. They were the
Exactly.
managers.
So for the wives or the spouse, the mothers or the women, you saying they should be the same way. They should be the band-aid for the men. They supposed to be the managers. And hell no, I'm not going back into slavery. I can't do it. I need that.
No,
I
no, no,
need
no,
that.
no, 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 no. They're not the managers. I'm not saying that. No, no, no. I'm saying that. All right. Well, the man is going to go out and he's going to collect all of the resources. He can choose what those resources
And,
are and everything. He
yeah, but for
brings them
lack of
back,
better
and
words,
then
he's doing the
you know,
work, and if she's just there to manage it. You said they more
yeah,
meticulous. They better with the numbers,
she.
which I
Well,
agree
that's
with.
yeah.
But
But
women
when
gonna love
he
you,
comes
Danny.
back, broken and beaten with all of the bounty that he collected during the day, it would be
Like a
her
slave.
job to mend him back up and to make
Nah.
sure that he don't get bothered in his castle, from the kids and whatnot.
Oh man, I can't rock with that one. I'm sorry. That's the thing. That's the
See,
thing.
now we have a conversation.
That's true. That's oh my god. I cannot rock with that, man. Because like even now, right? Even now, I'm a kitchen manager.
hmm
So my job is an hour. It takes me an hour and 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
I leave at 7:50 in the morning just to be there at 9. I'm supposed to get off at 7. That's my 10 hours. Then you gotta
hmm
think if I got out on time, I'll be home like 8:10, 8:15.
Yeah.
The kids are asleep. My feet hurt. I feel broken. I'm sweaty. I take a shower, and guess what? When I eat or I come home take that shower, I try my best to stay up. I'm sleeping within an hour, hour and a half, and then I wake up. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta do it all over again. I do not
Yeah.
want to be broken and beaten and battered every day, because just like women don't want to be a battered wife or battered woman. No, me either. As
No.
a man, I don't want that.
But
Oh, you need a massage. This is the thing. If my girl said, "Do you want a massage?" That's the last thing I want. Mentally, I might be like, it might feel good, but like, no, I need some quality time. I need me. I need
then that's something that
silence.
the woman should provide. The alone time, the don't bother me situation. She should provide
You in a relationship, and that's oh man, this is crazy.
the relationship is a partnership. It's a relationship. You are relating to each other,
It's
and
a
you are.
business. Marriage is
Yeah.
you said yourself, it's a business. It's no
And
longer
that's
what
what.
it should be.
Yeah, so a marriage now, these days, I don't believe in the current version of marriage. I don't believe in a contract where you're legally obligated to the next person. I feel, my personal feeling is that I'm going to wake up every day for the rest of my life and I'm going to choose to be with you every single day. Every day I'm going to choose to be with you. And I don't need no legal contract to make me be with you and to endure bullshit. It should be a love. I should want to be with you, not need to be with you.
So
And
it's two things I'm gonna say is, so do you so in a successful or good marriage or relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you need to exhibit love and affection every day?
No, absolutely not. That's tiring.
It is. See. So my girlfriend, I try to tell her all the time, and she feels broken or lost, of like, because I don't exhibit it. This is the thing. I think that's more so a fairy tale stuff we see in movies and TV, right? In the beginning of a relationship, sure, now you want that all the time. It's something new to you. Well, now when you get comfortable with each other, part of being comfortable is realizing and understanding your partner, right?
But that's what it is that it's a partnership. In the beginning, you have to figure each other out. And then that's the swooning phase of where you're both giving your whatever to swoon the other person. And that's fine. That's great. But that dies. Then you get to the point of where you wind up becoming one person, where you should already know what the other person is going to be like. You should already know that if you do this, the other person is going to react this way. That a boring relationship is actually a solid relationship, and it's nobody ever wants it. Everyone wants excitement all the time. They want to be wooed and loved and everything, even after 10 years. Okay, fine, you can have that, but it gets tiring. Yeah. You once in a while, you should remind that person that I still love you deeply. And my girl all the time, I've been with her for 10 years or longer. I don't know. But so I have no idea. But I'm very, very blunt with her. And she knows this. And it's funny because nobody believes that I speak to her the way I speak to her. And then I do it in front of people and they're like, oh my God, you really do talk to her like that. And her reaction isn't, are you freaking serious? Blah, blah, blah. It's a, okay, because I'm not going to lie to her. I'm going to tell her, flat out what's going on. And I mess with her and she knows I'm going to mess with her. But it's basically, we have this thing of where we don't ever do anything. Sometimes we do stuff, but it means more when we do it. Because if we're constantly doing it, then it doesn't mean as much. It's just stuff we do. And then I'm like, all right, well,
you're doing it at that point. You're just doing it to appease that person. You're doing it because you feel like you have to do those things, which is forced, right? Like for me, in a solid relationship, as long as you're still in that relationship, that should count for something. You should look at it like, if you're not arguing every day and you in that relationship, that other person should say, he loves me. We still in this together.
Yeah, because I constantly I seen it. But I'll respond to that in a second. But it's basically this literally just happened. I randomly went to Walmart and my girl, she likes ice pops. She's like addicted to them to like an unhealthy extent. But anyway, they're ice pops, so I just make fun of her. So then just randomly, she ran out and she didn't even ask me for it. Nothing. I was just in Walmart. I collected a couple things and I saw the ice pops. I got them and I put them in the freezer for her. And then I sent her a picture message. I said, I think we've been reverse robbed, and then she's like, what do you mean? And then she got the picture and the ice pops were in the fridge. And she goes, oh my God, thank you so much. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And it's little things like that make you remember, that make the other person remember that you do care. That, you're still thinking about them, even though, okay, you haven't seen each other in a week. Okay, well, this little thing actually reignited you. But if you're doing stuff like that all the time, just like I don't believe in Valentine's Day. It's stupid to me. I don't like it. I don't like being told when I'm supposed to show my love. I'm going to show you my love whenever I feel like I'm going to show my love, and it's going to be way more than one day. So, and on top of that. And funny is that my girlfriend and I, we actually wait for the end of Valentine's Day because then we go get the chocolate at like 75% off. And then we just sit there and be fat. So it's great.
It's funny you say that because like I'm aware of holidays, birthdays, but look, my girl, she never understood it. Like, as I get older, man, it's like, okay, sure. I put a lot of pressure and stress on myself by worrying about like, oh, I got to make sure I get something. And sometimes I don't get anything, not even a card. Like my girl's last birthday, I had other plans. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take her out somewhere. So we're gonna do things together. For her, because it wasn't personalized, it wasn't enough. And I was offended. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I didn't forget. Like you said Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, so her birthday, all right. Valentine's Day came after her birthday, but like, so on Valentine's Day, it was forced. I was at work. She knows how hard I work, how long I work.
Yep, my girl too.
I rushed home from work, and all I wanted to do was come home and relax. But what I do, I stopped at the store and got some last minute shit, and it was already late, so I had to go to like 4 stores before coming home. And I wanted to relax, and I got her something. And then the thing is, I'm like, all right, she's gonna be happy because she's gonna say, oh, I wasn't forgotten, and he got me something. Guess what? No reaction. I said, oh, hell no. Hell no.
Oh, you wanted that ticker tape parade. You wanted that. So, he's amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna I'm gonna rock his one night, See, so I put that in front of my girlfriend years ago. I told her, I was like, listen, well, I have a little prerequisite. I'm autistic, so she kind of knows. So I kind of tell her, I was like, listen, I don't celebrate nothing. I don't celebrate my birthday and no one else's birthday. I was like, don't expect anything from me ever. So if I get you something, it's because I thought of it, but don't ever. I was like, no Christmas, no nothing. I don't do any of that. And she's like, what? Why? And I'm like, it's just who I am. That's how it is. And I tell her all the time, I go, don't get me anything for my birthday. Don't get me anything for Christmas. I don't want nothing. One of my good friends, he knows the deal. He'll don't buy me nothing because I won't buy you nothing. And then we both get what we want. Nothing.
I was about to say that. So dang, that's where we differ. I can tell her or family members, nah. At my stage, at this point in my life, like I don't need nothing. I don't want you to give me nothing. But and by me telling them that, I'm like, so they ain't gonna look forward to nothing. But the thing is, they'll get me something and I don't get them nothing. So then I feel awkward, like, oh shit. So then sometimes what I do is I go get some cash and I'm like, oh yeah, I ain't know what to get you, so here. But that's forced. That's forced behavior.
Honestly, and I don't like that. I react differently to gifts. I actually react differently. This is part of my autism. I don't react how people think.
I thought that was a joke when you said that. So you got autism?
No. Yeah, I do. No, for real. So then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's okay. So I hide it a lot. So so then I don't react the same way that normal people would. If you get a gift, normally person would be, oh my God, thank you so much. Not me. You hand me the gift and I'm like, all right, thanks. And then they're like, oh, you don't like it? I'm like, no, I like it. And then they're like, no, you don't look like you like it. I was like, no, I really do like it. And then it comes back and forth. And because I didn't show a certain emotion, they don't believe me, even though deep down I truly loved it. And then it becomes a fight. And then that's when I just tell people, don't bother getting me anything. Believe me, it will not hurt my feelings.
Right.
So
that's interesting. That's interesting. So how many kids you got? Just one?
I have one of mine. Yeah.
So what does that mean? You got stepkids?
No, there's kids that I've parent sort of mildly, not even. I've helped raise a couple kids.
Well,
None of them are mine.
so it's like a brother or sister, or you just doing extra because I
I've
don't know.
I've no yeah extra stuff. There's been neighbor kids with no father. So I like stepped in. I was just like, hey, don't do this drugs. Don't drink. And then if they had a problem with school, I'll be like, all right, well, I'll talk to the school. Step in stuff.
Right.
And then there's
So
also
you just a real stand up guy. That's commendable.
guidance. And then that's the thing is that even though and then my son has brothers and sisters. There's 5 of them. My son is 1, so there's 4 others. And granted, the fathers aren't really around, and I can't quote or I can't speak on their behalf of why they don't go around. But it's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault that the father's not around or that the father is a certain way. They still require a parent, a father, a strong male figure who's caring and nurturing and also firm. And because without that, then they just go wild, they go crazy, and then they become what is pretty much what's wrong in the world right now. A little bunch of snowflakes that just can't handle nothing.
It's funny you said that because I had a previous podcast when I was saying how, in my beliefs, it's a reason why the man has the X and the Y, because we're supposed to be that balance, and how we're supposed to have that masculinity and that feminism within us. And I had several people say, "Nah, ain't no man supposed to have no feminism." I'm like, why do you think we have an X and a Y? Like, so
that's why you have a woman.
But this is my thing. So as far as feminism, I'm not saying be gay or homosexual. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying be a punk or be a sissy. What I'm saying is, anytime you be soft with somebody, that's showing feminism. That's the softer side of a man. And you just said the same thing. Like, they need that nourishing. To be a nourisher, that's a woman trait, right? That's feminism. That's a female trait, right? So if you are a good father, you should be a good nourisher, right? Like, so that's that feminism within you. I'm not saying be a punk, be a sissy. That's not what I'm saying. But that's why we have the X and the Y. We're supposed to be that balance. The woman's just supposed to be feminine, soft all the time. If you look at feminism, it says
the woman is supposed to be
or softer.
Yeah, the woman is supposed to be the squishy, nice, caring, kind, safe, whatever, and the man is supposed to be the
also exhibit that
violent.
sometimes. Yes, they are.
Well, yeah, yes. They're supposed to exhibit caringness, but to a certain degree, not to the point of where they're a pushover and they're turning into a big pile of mush.
But
of course, it's in every single guy. But the problem is that anytime it ever comes out, it's immediately attacked. It's immediately attacked every time it's come out. So you have to be careful where you release it.
Now, I think a strong man shouldn't worry about how people view them or what category they put them. I don't give a fuck. Like, for me, somebody be like, "Oh, that you just had a soft moment." I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm a man. I'm a human being. That's who I'm supposed to be. Right? And that's what I tell people. And they be like, "Yeah, you soft." I'm like, call me what you call me.
Like, I am what I am.
Respect me or don't respect me. People that respect me and don't respect that, then I have no respect for you, and I have no business communicating with you. And that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we are supposed to be that balance, right? We're supposed to have both. Now, so people go ahead.
More, we're supposed to have more of a strength than we are of a soft side. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's the whole reason for testosterone, is to beef you up to be basically the manly side of it. But we also have brains, so we are able to think about and rationalize. Okay, well, not every single situation requires a sledgehammer.
Nope. If you're a sledgehammer every day, guess what? When we talk about attention span and people want to run away from it and they want to get bored, if you're a sledgehammer every day, is your woman gonna want to stay by you? No, they're gonna look for something new. And that's why a lot of infidelity happens. To be honest, a woman wants you to be this every day, all day, and that what does that create for a man? That makes a man have to work overtime.
I've experienced a lot of times. We don't know. 100% exactly what they want to go for. I've experienced that many times. Where they're like, well, I want the guy to be this and this and this and this. Okay, well, I am this and this and this and this. And then I was like, but then why don't you want to be with me? Because I am exactly what you said. But then you're like, oh, but then I want this and this. Oh, so you're adding things. So you're changing it. So it's just, they're making up reasons not to be, whatever. And I'm like, whatever. So I've experienced that women don't know 100% what they want. Men try to be everything a woman wants, which is impossible because they want all sorts of different stuff.
And that's the thing. Women are difficult, right? So like we talk about appropriation, right? Now I'm not even going to talk about cultural. Well, I guess it kind of ties in. Something that I never understood was this. I tell my girlfriend all the time, the one thing I love about white people is this, and I can't say this to black people because they tell me, oh, you super white. And I'm like, that's crazy. Why can't I be a black man? Why can't I be a human? So I say that to say this. I tell my girlfriend all the time, the one thing I love about white people is you guys are carefree. You're jolly. Yeah, when 99.9% of white people don't have no rhythm, but when y'all can go to any function, right? Any function, and you dance. And rhythm.
We dance like nobody's watching.
Even when people watching,
I know, but we dance like nobody's watching.
Oh yeah. And so, say if a black person there, the only thing black people say is, "Oh my God, white person, typical white person," right? White people to them, to you guys, it's the norm.
I'll be like, "Oh, that's just Josh. That's just whatever."
But now let's switch roles here. For a black man, because I ain't got no rhythm, this is why I don't dance. Right? If I was to just be carefree or jolly like white people, right? You know what they're gonna say? Black people are like, you're not even, and this is a safe space. So I'm gonna say this. They're like, you're not even a nigga no more. You're not even black. I'm like, I'm like, last time I checked, I was black. What the fuck is that?
But then that's people shaming their own people.
You're right. No, not just
and that ain't right.
Blacks. No. That's what I'm getting.
That's racism against your own people.
No, listen.
He was like, "Oh, you ain't being like this. All right. Well, why do I have to be like that?"
But this is the thing. White people are carefree. You ever seen a white woman? And you be like, she's smoking hot. In terms of white people, that's how white people talk, smoking hot. Me, I'm like, oh, she banging. She look good. Shit.
It's exactly the word I was going in my head. I was like, she banging.
All right. Well,
I was like, she's banging.
So, if a white or black, you look at a woman, she's top notch. She's attractive. She's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
How many times you seen that type of woman with a fat, sloppy white or black man, and you just like, ew, how did he get her? But I can't. How many times have you seen that?
All the time.
But it's easier when you're white, though. When you're black, let me tell you something. You got if you're a black man, if you're not how black people are stereotyped, white girls are turning against you, and black girls are turning against you. So, as a black man, you have to work harder. No, that's true. I'm gonna tell you through personal experience, bro. Like when I was growing up, I always told people I don't have no problems with getting laid with any female or being with a female.
Careful, your girl's watching.
She is watching. But listen,
all of a sudden, come out of the corner, Bob.
No, it's okay. I tell this all the time. So I tell people all the time, my problem has always been maintaining them because you got to put in that extra work. And I say that to say this: white guys don't have to deal with that extra pressure, and I never understood it. Right? Like
we do, you just don't see it.
No,
that's the problem.
As a black man, say if I went to a club and I wasn't that tough street guy, white girls like, oh no, you are lame. You this, I'm like, how? You don't even know me. We talked for 3 seconds.
But that's the same thing with white guys. If I'm not Jack Diesel and I'm all, I'm slick and sly and everything, the girl's gonna be like, oh, get away from me, nerd.
No, white girls don't look at it that way. They find attraction in the smallest things. And I tell my
but a white girl be looking for the bad boy. But a lot of them look for the bad boy. They look for the danger because that's exciting and that's fun.
until they get jammed up, and then they were, oh, he's despicable, he's the worst kind, right? For instance, like that's what I was saying. Like white girls, they get with a nerdy ass boy, and a white guy or a black guy, we like, she banging, bro. Like, how the fuck did he get her? And then you be like, yo, I'm gonna steal her. And you go talk to
You know
her.
why?
Like,
Because he's safe. That's why, because he's safe.
And that's what I mean by why is it that like
and
you could
safe,
be a corny white hold on.
Yeah.
Why is it that you could be a corny white boy and you get the best girls, but you can be a black guy that has all, like, they check off all the boxes almost. They check off, like, on paper.
Well, there's some boxes they must not be checking off because the nerdy white guys got them.
No, but so, no, not the nerdy black guy. I said nerdy white guys got them.
I know the nerdy white guy has.
But a black guy show one sign of being nerdy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you are lame." You're like, "What? Tell me about your last 3 relationships," and they tell about some corny white boys like the white Steve Urkels, and you be like, "I'm nothing like that. How am I not acceptable?" And you was with them
because that nerdy white boy was their pocketbook. And that's why that was their pocketbook, so they could go out clubbing and looking fine, and they could do it. And the nerdy white guys making bank, doing whatever. And yeah, okay, fine. All I got to do is keep him happy, and all I got to do to keep him happy is looking fine, and then that's it. And then that's why.
Yeah, you know what?
But then that girl is going around looking for the badass black guy, and then doing him on the side while keeping the nerdy white guy.
Right, so you listen. You might have put me up on game. You know what that means?
What?
You might have put me up on game. You might have taught me something just now. So you saying that, like, if a girl's smoking hot, a white girl, and they would a busted down white guy, a nerdy white guy, you saying that's only temporary? She only with him for a game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just why this is the same reason why hot girls are marrying 90-year-old dudes who have a trust fund.
For personal gain. All right, so I never looked at it that way. I was like, how can I get attention from her, but he can? And that's the way I was looking at it. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah, it's just he doesn't have the beauty that you might have. He may not have the badass look or the exciting look and everything, but what he does have is he has a solid job. He has a house that she can go into. And he has the cars that she can drive. He has everything. And he's working all the time. So therefore, she can go to the club and go party with her gals. And then be like, all right, whatever. And then...
That was super white. You said gals.
Yeah, gals. Well, I was going to be like, damn bitches, but no.
That was white too. Love you, devil. That was
remember when I said I would say the most whitest things? Or I would say slang, but in the whitest way. Oh my god, I would do it so well. I'd be like, yo, dog, what up, bro?
Oh no.
They would just laugh. They'd be like, no, don't do that. And I'd be like, yo, what up?
It's crazy that you say you from South Towns River. Do you go outside the house in South Towns River?
Well, I'm not from South Towns River.
Oh, I thought that's what you say you was.
No, I'm from North Jersey.
No, I'm talking about now.
Oh, I live now, Tom's River time area.
That's what I said. Do you go outside much? Because if you like that, yeah.
I'm like this all the time. I am very popular, and I have no fucks to give. And if that's the funny part is that there's so many times where I'll do stuff like that in front of black people, and they will just laugh hysterically. They'll be like, "Yo, this white boy is great." Yes.
But so when we talk about appropriation, so this is the thing. Let's just say if I was trying to fit in, because sometimes I'm in situations, and I'm a firm believer, just be yourself at all times. But what I did learn is you gotta adapt to your surroundings, right? But it's sometimes in my mind, I'll be like, oh, I gotta be white to fit in. And I try, and people look at me like, oh, now you're being disrespectful. So
I've been to Camden. Listen, I've been to Camden. I've been to Philly. I've been to Patterson. All that. I walked around and everything. No one fucks with me because I act the part. When in Rome, act as the Romans do.
So, you know what I think it is? I think it's because listen, truth be told, save somebody. If a black man kill a white man, the judge gonna throw the book at them. If a black man kill a black man, they look at it like, oh, we got another one off the streets. So white people are safe. Like, let's look at it this way before you comment. So for white person come to the hood, they safe. Right, and because black people, I don't want 20 years. Hold on. Black person
this is obviously a trap.
But like, you could have a regular. You could be a black man could be working at McDonald's, and a black person would be more likely to rob them as opposed to a white lawyer. Why do you think that is? They trying to play it safe, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a black person kill a white person, you're getting 20 years. If a black person kill a black person, you might get 9 months. They be, oh yeah, we got another one.
Be like, I know that whole thing of, oh, that's just black people being black people, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And that
goes back to
that's not right. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's people's biases about shit, and that's stupid because it was another person who died. It doesn't matter what the fuck color they were. Someone killed someone. That's it. But you're right. There are stereotypes of, oh, okay, whatever is whatever. But I know what you mean. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. It makes it harder. Black men I feel like black men in particular have to work harder than ever just to sustain, right?
So maybe there are more things today in this day and age that actually benefit anybody who's not white, right, than there are benefits of white. And I understand everyone's like, oh, white privilege and everything, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, great.
Hold on, not to cut you off. You don't believe there's a such thing as white privilege?
There's white comfort.
No, bro.
There's white comfort.
It's definitely a such thing as white privilege.
Well, then, can you give me an example of what the privilege would be?
Okay. Like I was saying earlier, if a black person do something and then a white person turn around and do the same thing, you guys statistically get a slap on the wrist, where white America will look at it like, oh, we're going to throw the book at this black man.
But
it's crazy.
But again, that goes back to a personal bias. If one person did the exact same murder, like a black person who was the same age, same everything, same background, a white person, they committed the exact same murder the exact same way. The only way I could see that maybe there would be a bias about it is like, okay, well, the only difference was one was black, one was white. That was literally the only difference. And the white person's like, oh, well, you know what? You get 6 months, but this dude gets 6 years. I'd be like, okay, that's something. That's definitely something.
That happens every day. You listen.
But there's always some sort of little thing.
We could always have a part two. Like I'm not.
Oh, there will be a part two, I'm sure.
Right. So I'm not cutting off just that. But this is my thing.
No, that's fine. We can reverse.
Well, for instance, Donald Trump. Do you think he a racist?
Of course, he's a racist.
Oh shit! You're the first on my life. You're the first.
Absolutely, he's a racist.
He's a racist. All right. So
of course.
Do you know?
But then again, everybody's a little racist.
Did you watch? No, you can't say everybody. Because earlier you said that black people can't be racist.
No. You said black people can't be racist. I said, can black people be racist? You said no.
Okay. Well, we never been in superior.
I was like, so. everybody is a little racist.
So did you watch the presidential debate with Biden and Trump?
No, I was working.
So I didn't watch it all, and I'm gonna go back and watch it because that's
I watched
social media
pieces.
I watched like the first half hour.
Mm-hmm.
So dang, see, I feel like these are the moments I feel old. What was I saying? Because I had my wheels was turning for a minute.
I think we were talking about. Well, we should go to chat to find out what we were talking about. So then, they could be our memory. See, we're both old. I'm autistic and old. I'm older than you.
No, you're not. Are you? How old are you?
Dude, I'm 41.
How old are you? Oh,
41.
Yeah, you're older than me.
Yeah, I'm all. Yeah, of course I'm older than you. I don't look it.
Now you definitely don't. You still look like you look like you just got out of fucking high school or something. which is crazy because they say black don't crack. Like, and listen, not to say, I'm not gonna say nothing nobody never heard before.
Black don't crack.
But white people, yeah, that's true. Because white people, they could be in their 20s, they look like they're 80. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
I don't know if
it's environment. It's environment. On top of that, all right. So everyone's like, "Oh, what's your secret?" I'm like, "Be immortal." But no, other than that, so
be immortal. We all mortals though. So how does that make sense?
You can't be immortal. But my secret is to be immortal. And I was like, but obviously that's not true. You can't be immortal. But it was a joke. So then, but basically, my thing is, I try not to like no sodas. No sodas that screws you up. No habituates like smoking or doing anything stupid like that, drugs or whatever. But the biggest thing is let shit go. You have no idea how much people age when they hold on to shit. When they let things brew in the back of their mind. Yeah, stress. Yeah, because if you can't let things go, it makes you old so quick.
Hold on, I gotta put this comment up here, but I'm gonna still comment. It's funny you said that because I started this like 4 weeks ago. I started a what you call it? Shit.
Yep, you lost
it. I started a diet plan. Now I just remember a diet plan, and honestly, bro, it was hard in the beginning, but I'll be alive. I'll be remiss if I didn't say that health-wise, I felt better. Now I cheated. I had some cheat days that in the beginning I didn't want to tell my girlfriend about because she's supposed to be doing it with me. But anytime I cheated, I felt like I was gonna throw up. I felt sick, and I'm like, damn. Yeah. So when people say it's what you ingest, it's what you put in your body that makes you age and stuff, I believe it because. If you're in the best health, then you're gonna look better. You're gonna feel better.
Yeah.
And it's been days I'm like, shit. Now that I cheated, I want to have more cheat days. My girlfriend get mad because I say, "Shit, what you eat today?" I'm like, "Oh, I was busy at work. I only ate this. I didn't have a chance to eat X, Y, and Z." She's like, "But we spent money on getting it so we can stick to the plan. But I was busy. I ain't have time." So then I'm like, "Well, to make up for that, I'm just gonna eat something." And I eat it, and instantly I go, "Oh, I don't feel right." So that made me a believer because before the diet plan, I was never a believer. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you eat, but now I know that all the grease, the sodium, the salts, all that it does play a factor. Because
every single person has a different body chemistry and body makeup. Everything individual people eat reacts differently in their own body.
Right.
But be honest, I eat garbage nonstop. I eat nothing but trash food, and this is it. I'll eat burgers. I eat chocolate.
That's crazy. It's crazy you said that because when you were saying your secret, I thought you were gonna say you eat well. Now you say you eat like shit. I'm like, how the fuck?
I eat garbage. I eat nonstop. Wait, ready? Wait, ready? Now, when I say I eat garbage, I mean I literally I eat just garbage. wait. I totally just eat garbage. So
what's that from like 2 days ago? What the fuck?
That was last night actually. So edit that out. So I eat garbage, which is why when I tell people they're like, and I never tell people don't not eat healthy. You should definitely eat healthy. Absolutely. Right. Because if you put trash in, then trash is going to come out. And that's fine. But it works the same way with your mental. If trash comes in, trash is going to come out. And when you put yourself in social situations that make you all stressed out and everything, well, it wears on your body, But if you put good things in your body, good things will come out. There are weird examples of where that doesn't work, but
the same thing about reading. I tell people all the time, it's important to read, right? Because
learn.
If you read, you're learning, right?
Yeah, read and learn.
but it serves multiple purposes. When you read, what does it do? It's just like when you work out, right? You try to build muscle. If you don't have that muscle memory, if you don't build your mind, if you don't, that's a muscle in itself. If you don't build that up, then you're stagnant. You're complacent. You're content with being where you are. So when you read, you know what that does? It builds on your vocabulary, and if it builds on your vocabulary, it builds on your socialization skills, right? It builds on a lot of things. It makes you more knowledgeable, right? Like, so
Well,
part
that's
of the
why I
reason why I
said
start,
learn. You know,
right. So
reading would
part
be
of the reason
great.
why,
Is that yeah,
so part of the reason why I started this platform is to better my socialization because I don't talk to many people, and I often say that I don't have friends, but like, and it's people that say they consider themselves as my friend, so they get offended, and I'm like, well, for me, I look at friendship
I'm your
differently, right?
friend, but I'm not offended.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Yeah, I
people,
know.
so like, I'm like, if I can't call you and vent, that's not a true
Yeah,
friend. You just that's more of an associate. You here for a
you,
season, right? You're not here for a
yep.
reason.
Hmm.
Um, just like family. If family won't allow you to express yourself in the time of need, nah, how's that family? Right? Because if you look at the word family oriented is putting your family before yourself. Or you
Yeah,
know what I'm
but
saying?
is family who your
It's
blood is, or is family who you make?
oh, that's a good question. I was about to say family is blood, but then when you said that, that's another
Mm.
topic for another conversation. Hey, that was pretty good. That was pretty good because I will say this. One reason why that was so good is when you get married or you have kids with a woman, that's that woman's not your blood, right? Oh, hold on, I'll put this up there. Look,
Yeah.
because your wife or your girlfriend is not about blood, but then society, right? You say that's family. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's
So
right, because it's someone you made. It's someone you made
yes,
into your family.
yes, and then you have
And
kids, and you talk.
and I can cut blood relatives off. And that
Oh,
they be cut off, but they're my blood, but I can cut them off of my family.
and it's funny. So you said that because in somebody else's podcast I was on, the question was asked: could your best friend be with somebody besides your wife or your girlfriend, or could you respect somebody that's not blood related more than somebody that is blood related? And I said yes, and there's a lot of people said they disagree, but I think so.
Yeah.
You know,
You
you
pressed
seen
the
it.
wrong one. Yeah, you
Oh,
see
oh,
it on you,
I
put
put the
me
wrong
up.
one. There you go.
So I'm multitasking. I can do this.
I see that. I see that. So I see I'm a little slow with it, but it's all good.
But yeah,
But
so the family thing, I believe it's who you make your family. I have friends who I actually consider my brothers, like actual brothers, and I actually have their parents. I call mom and dad because
oh,
there
that's
was
powerful.
points. There was points where they raised me, where they disciplined me, where they told me I did something wrong, where they took something away from me because I was being stupid, and
Mm,
they did parenting, and I didn't have to be their blood relative for them to parent.
right.
So I consider them a mom and dad. I mean, they're mom and dad, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Like, so I see we somewhat think the same because
Yeah,
as that comment said, family don't have to be blood, right?
yeah,
Like I feel that way. It's a lot of my family members that's not there in the time of need, but like somebody I say is a friend, they are there in the time of need. So it's like
yep,
on since America always talk about the scales of justice, right? So it's not just the scales of justice, it's the scales of life. So if you put family, you put friends on something, if your friendship with people outweighs your family, guess what? You're gonna gravitate to that. That's more important. And that's where you
yep,
prioritize things, right?
and that
So
becomes your family.
right. And a lot of people don't understand that. They look at it like that person didn't give birth to you. That person don't share the same blood. I'm like, nah, but they show me more support and they give me more value than you. So therefore,
That's
they are
right.
family to me. So it's funny you said it because a lot of people don't agree with that, but So hey, that just gave me another podcast topic, to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being honest.
You should
Because I
write
know
that
a lot
down.
of people go, yeah, matter of fact, I'm writing it down right now.
You better, because it's
I
just
know
like
a
a
lot of
stoner.
people,
Listen, it's like a stoner moment where you have
right?
amazing ideas when you're stoned, okay, but then you don't remember them later,
Right.
and then you can't remember it.
I got you. So I'm gonna end this session for today. We definitely gonna have a part 2 because I feel like we just touched the surface of this conversation.
There's a
We
lot
kind
to
of
talk.
deviate a little bit. It's a lot to talk about. So we're gonna have a part 2. So to all my listeners, my viewers, make sure you like, share, subscribe,
Tell your friends.
tell the world, tell your friends, all that. But all right, we're gonna end it for right now, and we definitely will have a part 2. And Danny, I appreciate you.
All right.
All right.